Hey, Soul Stories fam! We've got a sweet, funny, and totally swoon-worthy love story for you today. Let's jump in. Golden autumn sunlight shimmered through the blazing red maple leaves, turning the city's Central Park into a living painting straight out of Instagram. A gentle breeze carried the scent of freshly cut grass and a sweet hint from a nearby ice cream cart, a scent so tempting it made Isla Carter want to skip over and buy a cone on the spot. She perched on a park bench, an old guitar cradled in her lap like a lifelong companion. Her long curly hair danced like it was doing disco, and her smile, it was so dazzling. Even a squirrel on a nearby tree paused mid-snack to admire her. At 26, Isla was an amateur songwriter who made ends meet as a part-time babysitter, a job she proudly called training to be a superhero while watching kids. But music was her true stage, her playground, where she dreamed of one day hosting her own concert with people singing along to her tunes, or at least clapping enthusiastically. Like every weekend afternoon, Isla had brought her guitar to the park, declaring herself the DJ of nature. "This park needs a bit of music, right?" she murmured, strumming the first notes of Whispers of the Wind, a song she wrote after getting caught in the rain, and imagining herself as the heroine in a romantic film. The melody was cheerful and the lyrics inviting. "The wind gently sings, bringing smiles our way. Through the days we'll find the light." Isla's voice, clear with a mischievous twang, rang out like a refreshing lemonade on a hot summer day. An old lady passing by smiled, and a boy on a bike stopped, eyes shining like he'd just discovered treasure. Isla winked at him. "Hey, kiddo, free concert today. Just don't forget to leave me a 5-star review." The boy giggled, and Isla kept singing, carefree as if the whole world were her stage. Suddenly, a sound cut through her, hit single, a child sobbing, loud enough to drown out the wind. Isla looked up, her sparkling brown eyes curious. Near the swing set sat a tiny girl, about 4 years old, alone, tears streaming down her cheeks like someone had just stolen her favorite lollipop. She wore a cute pastel pink dress, her little shoes swinging, but her red eyes screamed, "I'm really sad." Isla gently set her guitar down and leaped off the bench like a superhero, ready to save the day. "All right, Isla Carter, time to shine," she told herself, walking over and kneeling in front of the little girl, her smile brighter than stage lights. "Hey there, little princess. Why the big tears? Did someone bully you? Or did you watch a sad movie?" Isla asked playfully. The girl looked up, lips trembling, tears still falling. I miss Mommy," she whispered shakily. Isla blinked, her heart squeezing. "Oh, sweetie, I bet your mom is amazing, huh? But guess what? I have superpowers that chase sadness away." Isla winked, sat down on the grass, and began to sing Whispers of the Wind again, this time slower, like a lullaby. "The wind gently sings, bringing smiles our way. Don't be afraid, the light is waiting for us." The melody was like an invisible hug, sweeping the tears away. The girl Evie gradually calmed, her bright eyes fixed on Isla. Then, like magic, a shy smile bloomed on her lips. "You sing so pretty. I like it," Evie whispered, then suddenly threw her tiny arms around Isla like she was hugging her favorite teddy bear. Isla laughed out loud. "Haha, you're officially my #1 fan now. Next time I'll teach you to sing too. Deal?" Evie nodded eagerly, her smile as radiant as sunshine. Isla ruffled her hair, feeling like she just won gold in the Making Kids Smile Olympics. Not far away, Dominic Wolf stood silently, witnessing the entire scene. At 35, he was the epitome of power and aloofness. As CEO of Wolf Tech, a massive tech conglomerate, Dominic was known in the business world as a ruthless tycoon. Clad in a tailored black suit, his tall figure and chiseled features, especially his blade-sharp eyes, kept the world at a distance. 3 years ago, his wife Elena died in a car crash, leaving him and their daughter Evie drowning in grief. Evie, once a chatty little bird, had withdrawn, shy and silent. Dominic had tried everything: therapists, luxury toys, getaways, but nothing had brought Evie's smile back. Today, he brought Evie to the park, hoping the fresh air might help. But Evie had cried, calling out for her mother in longing. Dominic had stood there, helpless, heart aching. He was just about to step in and comfort her, when Isla's singing reached him. The unfamiliar, joyful melody felt like sunlight breaking through the fog inside him. And then, the unthinkable happened. Evie smiled, her first smile in 3 years, as bright as the morning sun. Dominic was stunned, moved in a way he couldn't explain. That girl with her old guitar and mischievous grin had done what he, a father, could not. Taking a deep breath, Dominic adjusted his tie and walked over. He stopped in front of Isla and Evie, his voice low but polite. "Thank you. My daughter. She hasn't smiled like that in a long time." Isla looked up, slightly surprised by the tall man, who looked like he'd stepped out of a Hollywood film. She grinned wide. "Oh, it's nothing. This little princess just needed a bit of music to cheer her up. I'm Isla Carter, professional sadness slayer." She held out her hand, eyes twinkling, like she'd just invited him into a secret game. Dominic hesitated, then shook her hand. His grip was firm, yet cold. "Dominic Wolf. This is Evie," he said simply, not revealing his full identity. He looked at Evie, who was still holding Isla's hand, her eyes glowing with joy. "Thank you, Miss Isla," Evie chirped, her tiny voice full of excitement. Isla winked. "Next time I'm bringing cookies. We'll throw a park party." Dominic watched Isla, a fleeting thought crossing his mind. This woman had more than just a lovely voice, she had an energy, like a small flame warming the world. Maybe she was the key to bringing back Evie's smile. As they left the park, Dominic held Evie's hand, leading her to the sleek black car waiting nearby. He turned back to glance at Isla once more. She had returned to her bench, strumming her guitar and singing, her curly hair swirling as if telling its own happy story. The evening sun surrounded her, and Dominic didn't know it yet, but this fleeting moment would become the beginning of a journey full of surprises. The next morning, Isla was sipping on a cup of milk coffee, the only thing keeping her conscious after staying up late writing music, when her phone buzzed violently on the table. An unknown number. She raised an eyebrow and muttered, "Probably another insurance ad or spa promo call." But when she picked up, a deep, polite voice so formal it was almost intimidating came through. "Miss Carter, this is Dominic Wolf. I'd like to offer you a position as my daughter's private nanny." Isla nearly choked on her coffee, eyes going wide like ping-pong balls. "Huh? Nanny? For Princess Evie?" She laughed, thinking she must be dreaming. But Dominic's tone was as serious as if he were reading out a billion-dollar contract. "That's right. Can you start soon?" Isla paused. Private nanny? It sounded like a supporting role in a Hollywood movie, but the pay probably meant she could finally afford new guitar strings and some better coffee. More than that, Evie, the little girl with the cupcake-sweet smile, had touched her heart. "All right, Mr. Wolf. I'll give it a try for a week, but fair warning, I might have your whole house dancing to my tunes," she replied, her voice full of excitement. Dominic was silent for a moment, probably wondering what kind of whirlwind he'd just invited into his home. "Good. I'll have a car pick you up this afternoon," he said, then hung up. Isla stared at the phone. Who talks like a robot in real life? "Oh well, new challenge. Here I come," she declared. That afternoon, a sleek black car straight out of a James Bond movie pulled up in front of Isla's tiny apartment. Backpack slung over one shoulder, guitar strapped to her back, she hopped into the car like she was heading off on a grand adventure. "Hey there, driver. Quick question, is your boss the mysterious billionaire type? Just so I can mentally prepare," she joked. The middle-aged chauffeur merely offered a polite smile. "You'll see soon enough, Miss Carter," he said, voice laced with mystery. When the car stopped in front of the Wolf estate, Isla's jaw dropped. The house sat atop a hill on the city's outskirts, massive like a palace. All glass and steel in a modern design, yet somehow cold and sterile like a low-budget thriller film. "Holy moly, this place just needs a vampire brooding on the balcony to complete the vibe," Isla muttered, clutching her guitar like a protective talisman. Dominic appeared at the door, still in his immaculate black suit, his face as cold and unreadable as an iceberg. "Miss Carter, welcome to my home," he said in an even tone. Isla beamed. "Thanks, Mr. Wolf. But are you sure this is a house? Looks more like NASA headquarters." Dominic paused clearly, not used to her brand of humor, then simply nodded. "You'll stay for a week. If it works out, we'll sign a long-term contract." He led her inside, explaining Evie's schedule like a military officer reading a mission briefing. Breakfast at 7, morning playtime, afternoon reading lessons. Isla nodded, but in her mind she was already penciling in dance party as a new agenda item. He showed her to her room, a well-furnished but simple space with a large window overlooking the garden. "Wow, this room's nicer than a 5-star hotel. Got any openings? I can recommend my friends," Isla quipped with a wink. Dominic responded flatly, "You should rest. Evie will meet you tonight." Then he disappeared behind a door, leaving Isla feeling like she'd just met the world's most polite alien. That evening, as Isla was unpacking her backpack, she heard tiny footsteps approaching. Evie burst into the room, eyes glowing like twin stars. "Miss Isla, I missed you," the little girl squealed, launching herself into Isla's arms like a puppy. Isla laughed loudly, hugging her tight. "My little princess, how are you? Ready to be my junior DJ?" Evie nodded eagerly, and Isla immediately grabbed her guitar, strumming a few notes of Whispers of the Wind. "The wind gently sings, bringing smiles our way." She added a few silly gestures, making Evie giggle. Isla turned the song into a mini play, pretending to be the wind itself, flying through the room, causing Evie to clap and laugh with delight. "Miss Isla, you're so funny," Evie said, wrapping her arms around her. Down the hall in his office, Dominic heard the music and laughter. His fingers froze above the keyboard. Isla's cheerful, unfamiliar voice brought with it a rare warmth, like a sunbeam slipping into a house long sealed in winter. He stood, walked quietly down the hallway, and peeked through the slightly open door. Isla and Evie were dancing, pretending to be gusts of wind like performers in a whimsical circus act. Dominic smiled just a tiny smile, so fleeting that he didn't even notice it himself. But he quickly pushed the feeling away, retreating into his usual cold expression. "She's just a nanny," he reminded himself, trying to shake the odd warmth rising inside. Unaware she was being watched, Isla continued performing with Evie. She told a story about a wind spirit named Windy, who collected children's laughter across the world. "And guess what? Windy said Evie has the most beautiful smile in the whole universe," Isla said, making the little girl laugh even harder. When Evie yawned, Isla's voice softened. She sang Whispers of the Wind like a lullaby again. "Don't be afraid, the light is waiting for us." Evie slowly drifted off, curled into Isla's arms like a kitten finding warmth. Dominic quietly returned to his office, but the image of Isla and Evie lingered in his mind. He was struck by Isla's sincerity, how she made Evie laugh, with nothing but a song and a few goofy lines. But he still kept his distance. It had been 3 years since Elena died, and Dominic had built a wall around his heart. Getting close to anyone, even a quirky nanny, could mean opening himself up to pain again. "She's doing her job well," he told himself, determined to keep things strictly professional. Meanwhile, Isla lay on her bed in the new room, staring up at the ceiling. "This mansion is definitely fancy, but it's cold as the Arctic," she mumbled. "And that Dominic guy? Probably a robot in disguise. But Evie is pure sunshine. Isla Carter, you're gonna turn this place into a stage for joy. Just wait and see." She smiled, dreaming of the days ahead, unaware that she'd just stepped into a world of power, secrets, and unexpected sparks. Isla Carter had officially become the full-time nanny at the Wolf Estate after what she dubbed a historic event in nannying history. That morning, she stood in front of the mirror in her cozy little room, wearing a paper crown, a trophy from a child she once babysat, and declared, "Isla Carter, you've conquered the first challenge. Now it's time to turn this frozen palace into a dazzling dance floor." The mansion perched on the suburban hillside still exuded a sense of luxury, but one laced with gloom, like a horror movie missing its eerie background music. "This place just needs a disco ball to become a club," Isla muttered, hugging her guitar like a lucky charm. After signing the official contract with Dominic, a brief ceremony Isla jokingly called her initiation into the superhero nanny squad, she'd settled into the mansion's rhythm. Henry Blake, Dominic's assistant, with his friendly golden retriever smile, had quickly become her #1 ally. "Hey Isla, ready to stir up more chaos?" Henry teased, iPad in hand like a shield against the house's formality. Isla winked. Chaos, I'm planning to turn this place into a mini Disneyland. You in, or are you still clinging to that iPad like it's sacred? Henry burst out laughing. If you pull that off, I'll buy tickets to your show. Isla patted his shoulder. VIP seats, Henry. Don't let me down. The Wolf Mansion was still cold, its long hallways lined with abstract paintings that looked like they'd been painted by a half-asleep artist. But Isla, with energy like a rainbow storm, was determined to shift the atmosphere. She hung a poster in her room that read, "Sing loud, love big," turning the space into her music headquarters. Every day, she came up with new ways to make Evie, the cupcake sweet little girl, laugh a little more. Today, Isla declared a rainbow adventure day in the living room. Armed with colored paper, pencils, and a glitter-filled box, she announced, "Princess, today we're building the Rainbow Kingdom, where everything sparkles." Evie clapped excitedly, her eyes glowing. "Miss Isla, I want to make a castle." Isla pretended to be serious. "A castle? It has to have disco towers, agreed?" Evie giggled and began drawing a castle with Isla as the Queen of Rainbows, wearing a glittery crown. After the art session, the two moved on to a kitchen adventure to make cookies. Isla donned an apron and a paper chef's hat that made her look utterly ridiculous. "Chef Evie, what shape are we baking today? A moon or a fire-breathing dragon?" Evie picked the moon, and soon the kitchen was a war zone of flour. Isla pretended to be a flour witch, waving a wooden spoon like a magic wand and making clouds of flour fly everywhere. "Miss Isla, you're such a mess." Evie laughed until she fell to the floor. Isla winked. "Messy is fun, princess. Life's too boring when it's neat." When the cookies came out of the oven, slightly misshapen but smelling divine, Evie held one proudly. "Miss Isla, can you stay here forever?" she asked, her sparkly eyes melting Isla's heart. "I'll stay until you bake prettier cookies than me." "Deal?" Isla replied, patting Evie's head, leaving a dusting of flour in her curls. Passing by the kitchen, Henry couldn't help but laugh at the scene. "Isla, are you opening a bakery or running a comedy class?" he joked. Isla placed her hands on her hips. "Both, Henry. Want to be my student? I'll give you a discount for being an ally." Henry raised his hands in surrender. "I'll pass, but Evie's definitely your #1 fan." From a distance, Dominic watched. He often buried himself in work numbers and contracts serving as walls between him and the world. But the laughter from the kitchen stirred his curiosity. He walked down, stopping at the doorway, observing Isla and Evie in their pretend flower-throwing battle. Evie ran to him, pulling his hand. "Daddy, Miss Isla made super yummy moon cookies." Dominic looked at his daughter and noticed something different. She wasn't just smiling, she was chatty, glowing as she talked about the Rainbow Kingdom and moon-shaped cookies. He looked at Isla, who was still pretending to be a flower witch with her wooden spoon, making Evie burst into laughter. An odd sensation stirred within him, as if the house, after 3 years of silence, had started humming a new melody. One evening, Dominic came home earlier than usual, a rarity as rare as a shooting star. He stood in the backyard watching Isla and Evie playing Rainbow Treasure Hunt. Isla darted around, pretending to search for a shiny gem she'd hidden in a bush, while Evie chased after her, laughter ringing through the garden. "Miss Isla, you're too slow! The rainbow's getting away!" Evie shouted. Isla stopped, panting. "That rainbow must have drunk my coffee." Dominic couldn't help but smile, just a tiny one he didn't even realize had formed. But he quickly tucked it away, stepping forward with his usual serious face. "You're doing a good job, Isla." Isla turned, winking. "Thanks, boss, but next time, you better join the treasure hunt or the rainbow will come for you." Dominic paused, clearly unused to her playful tone. He only nodded and walked away, though a faint warmth remained in his chest, like Isla had brought a burst of color into this once lifeless house. The Wolf Mansion still carried its chill, long hallways, quiet rooms, and an air of formality. Dominic remained consumed by work, operating like a tireless machine. But the sound of Evie's laughter, Isla's silly antics, and the light from their Rainbow Kingdom began to seep into every corner. Isla, with her stormy energy and sunny spirit, didn't know it yet, but she was melting not only Evie's heart, but also the icy walls around Dominic's. Still, the shadows remained, lingering behind Dominic's emotional distance, waiting for the right moment to rise. Rain tapped gently against the windows of the Wolf Mansion, composing a somber soundtrack, as if the sky itself wanted to add drama to the story. Isla Carter, now more than 2 months into her official role as nanny, had turned this once cold house into a tiny, vibrant stage. She lay stretched out on her bed in her cozy little room, hugging her guitar like an old friend, and murmured to herself, "Isla Carter, you're a superstar. You've won over Princess Evie, but that Dominic guy, he's got to be a robot in disguise. How else is he always so stiff, like he's in a never-ending board meeting?" She winked at the Sing Loud, Love Big poster on her wall, proud that she'd brought laughter back into Evie's life, and that the flower disasters in the kitchen had become fond memories. That night, the rain seemed to weigh down the atmosphere in the mansion. Isla was strumming a few random chords when a heart-wrenching sob broke through the melody Evie's voice from down the hall. Cutting through like an SOS, Isla jumped up like a superhero, grabbed her cardigan, and sprinted through the corridor. "Hang on, little princess, your hero is coming," she whispered as she pushed open Evie's door. The little girl sat curled up on her bed, tears streaming down her cheeks, her tiny hands clutching the doll Isla had once given her. "Miss Isla, I dreamed about Mommy. She went away," Evie cried, voice trembling. Isla sat beside her, gently pulled her into a hug, and rubbed her back softly. "Oh, sweetheart, nightmares are just gray clouds. I'll blow them away for you." She smiled, still trying to keep her tone playful to ease Evie's fears. Without thinking twice, Isla began singing a lullaby for tomorrow, a song she'd written 4 years ago, back when she was just a dreamer in the park with her old guitar. The melody was soft, like an embrace. "Tomorrow will come, with smiles and hope. Sleep now, my dear, the dreams are near." Her voice was clear and warm, like moonlight slipping through the rain. Gradually, Evie calmed down. Her red-rimmed eyes fluttered shut, and she nestled into Isla's arms like a kitten seeking shelter. Isla kept singing, gently rocking her, imagining she was weaving a musical blanket to shield the child from the storm. Eventually, Evie fell asleep, a shy smile returning to her face with each steady breath. But just outside the door, a tall figure had appeared. Dominic Wolf, in a slightly wrinkled white shirt after a long day at work, stood frozen as if someone had pressed pause. He heard the melody, and it struck him like a blade. That song, it reopened a wound that had never fully healed. His eyes darkened, and rage flared inside him like a wildfire. He stormed into the room, signaling for Isla to get up, grabbing her arm and pulling her out into the hallway before shutting Evie's door. Outside the room, Isla tried to lighten the tension with a joke. "What's wrong, Mr. Wolf? Did you want a lullaby too? Fair warning, I charge extra." Dominic's face turned stormy. "Enough! How dare you sing that song? Who do you think you are, invading our privacy like this? Are you trying to replace Elena? You're just the help, nothing more." The words hit Isla like a bucket of freezing rain. She froze, stunned, eyes glistening. Her usual spark dimmed. Inside, Evie began crying again, perhaps having heard the shouting. Isla rushed back in, scooped the girl up, and cradled her tightly. "I'm here, Evie. I'm not going anywhere. I'll sing you something else, okay?" She softly began another lullaby, her tears falling as she sang. Evie nestled deeper into her, her sobs fading. One of Isla's tears slipped onto Evie's cheek. Evie looked up. "Don't cry, Miss Isla. Did Daddy make you sad?" Isla hugged her tighter and shook her head. She kept singing until Evie fell asleep once more. Then she gently laid her down, brushed the little girl's hair from her forehead, and whispered, "Sweet dreams, princess. I'll be back soon." Outside the room, Dominic stood motionless. Isla stepped out to face him. Her voice was calm, but the hurt was clear. "I didn't invade anyone's privacy with that song, Mr. Wolf. I sang to keep Evie from being afraid not to hurt you, and I'm not trying to replace anyone." Without waiting for a response, she turned and walked away, her heart feeling like it had been hit by a stone. Under the pouring rain, Isla left the mansion that very night. Backpack slung over one shoulder, guitar on her back, she walked down the soaked road. "Isla Carter, you're a star, not a servant to be yelled at," she muttered, trying to keep her tone light to mask the sting. But inside, she was deeply wounded. For 2 months, she'd poured her heart into bringing joy to Evie, turning the mansion into a rainbow kingdom. She never expected to stumble into Dominic's most painful scar. The next morning, the Wolf Mansion was eerily quiet. Evie woke up with red, puffy eyes, asking again and again, "Where's Miss Isla? Where did she go, Daddy?" She refused to eat breakfast, clutching the doll Isla had given her and murmuring, "Miss Isla sings the prettiest songs." In his study, Dominic sat at his desk, but something felt off, like something was missing. He remembered Isla turning the kitchen into a flower-covered battlefield, remembered the way she danced like the wind, filling the house with laughter. Her carefree spirit had been a flicker of light in his bleak days, and now it was gone. He tried to focus on his work, but the image of Isla standing in the rain, eyes shimmering with hurt, haunted him. Back in her small apartment, Isla lay on the couch, hugging her guitar and snacking on chips to comfort her broken heart. "You're a star, Isla. Don't let anyone make you feel small," she told herself. But even her joking tone couldn't hide the ache. She thought about Evie, about her smile, and wondered if maybe she should go back. "No, Isla, you're not a servant," she reminded herself firmly. But Evie's face still tugged at her heart, leaving it aching with doubt. Still following the story? If this story found you outside of Soul Stories, we invite you home to where every touching tale begins with truth, hope, and heart. 3 days after the fateful rainstorm, the Wolf Mansion was cloaked in a heavy silence, as if the house itself were holding its breath. Dominic Wolf sat in his study, the computer screen glowing brightly before him, but his eyes weren't focused on the numbers. Instead, he was haunted by the image of Isla Carter, her curly hair damp and wild, her eyes shimmering in the rain. He knew he'd been wrong to lash out at her, to call her just the help over the lullaby, a lullaby for tomorrow. The song had reopened the wound of losing Elena, but what truly pained him now was Evie. His daughter had refused to eat for days, clinging to the doll Isla had given her and asking over and over, "Where's Miss Isla? Is she mad at you, Daddy?" Dominic kept telling himself he didn't need Isla, but every time he saw Evie sitting in silence, he missed the sound of Isla's laughter like a breeze that once blew through the fog in his house. Meanwhile, in her tiny apartment, Isla Carter was doing what she did best, turning heartbreak into a musical celebration. She joined a street performance with her group of amateur musician friends, strumming her guitar and singing Whispers of the Wind with fiery energy. "Isla Carter, you are a star. No one dims your light," she told herself as she danced in front of a small cheering crowd. A group of children clapped along in delight. Her older sister Chloe, watching from the side, shook her head with a smile. "You never give up, do you, Isla?" Isla winked. "Come on, sis, life's a stage. If it hurts, sing louder." But when night fell and she sat alone with her guitar, her thoughts turned to Evie. "I miss you, little princess," she whispered, plucking a soft, sorrowful note. Though she found joy in performing again, the memory of Evie's sparkling eyes tugged at her heart. On the 4th day, Dominic had had enough. Evie hardly left her room, murmuring Isla's name as she hugged her doll. Dominic missed Isla's wild kitchen disasters, her wind-like energy, and the strange, rare warmth she'd brought into his life. He opened his laptop and typed Isla's name into an amateur music platform. When he found a lullaby for tomorrow listed under her name and dated 4 years ago, he froze. The song wasn't an invasion of his privacy, it was a piece of Isla's soul. He clenched his phone in his hand. "I was wrong," he murmured, and made a decision. He had to find her. Driving his sleek black car to Isla's apartment, Dominic's chest felt like it carried a block of ice. He adjusted his tie outside her door and muttered, "Don't screw this up again, Dominic." Isla opened the door, nearly dropping her guitar in shock. "Mr. Wolf, did you get the wrong address? This is a superstar's home, not NASA HQ," she teased, though her eyes were cautious. Dominic didn't smile. His voice was low and sincere. "Miss Carter, I owe you an apology. I need to talk." Isla crossed her arms and raised an eyebrow. An apology, huh? Sounds promising, but just so you know, I don't accept bribes. Unless you brought Evie's moon cookies. She motioned for him to sit on the couch where colored paper and crayons were scattered beside a Sing Loud, Love Big poster. Dominic glanced around and let a faint smile slip. Very you. Isla grinned. Thanks, boss. This place is a stage, not one of your depressing boardrooms. He sat, took a deep breath. I misunderstood you. The song A Lullaby for Tomorrow. My wife, Elena, loved it. She heard it during a street performance and used to sing it, especially when putting Evie to sleep. After she died, I banned that song from the house. It reminded me too much of losing her. His eyes grew distant. Elena loved music. She loved helping others. She died in a car accident while doing charity work. I was supposed to drive her, but I was too buried in work. I wasn't there. His voice cracked ever so slightly as if brushing against an old scar. Isla listened quietly, her brown eyes now soft with understanding. She set her guitar down and sat across from him. I'm sorry for bringing up those painful memories, she said gently. I wrote that song to heal, not to hurt. 4 years ago, I was just a girl sitting in a park, writing it for the kids I used to watch. I had no idea it meant something to you or to Evie. She smiled faintly. I'm not here to replace anyone, Mr. Wolf. I'm just Isla, a girl who loves to sing and make kids laugh. Dominic looked at her and for the first time saw that the sincerity in Isla's eyes wasn't something that could be faked. I know, he said quietly, and I'm starting to believe you. He told her more about Elena, how she had been full of life, always singing cheerful songs and working with children in need. Her death had left behind not just grief, but deep guilt for not protecting her. When you sang that song, I thought you were trying to take her place. Elena used to sing it to Evie every night. I thought you were replacing her, but I was wrong. Evie needs you, and that house doesn't feel like home without you. Isla blinked, pretending to be shocked. Wait a minute, did Dominic Wolf just say his house needs me? I need to carve this moment into stone. She laughed, then softened. I love Evie. You know that. She's my little princess. But if I come back, I need to be myself. The loud, silly Isla who sings, dances, and makes a mess in your kitchen. Dominic gave her a rare, gentle smile so warm it nearly knocked her off the couch. Fair enough, Miss Carter. Just try not to turn my kitchen into a war zone again. Just then, Chloe walked into the room, raising a brow. Isla, you didn't tell me we were having guests. Who's this? Some mysterious CEO? Isla winked. Sis, this is Mr. Wolf, my boss, the robot one. But today he's looking a little more human. Dominic stood and nodded politely. Thank you for letting me fix things, Isla. Evie's waiting for you. Will you come back? Isla looked at him, pretending to weigh her options. Let's see. Evie, cookies, and a chance to make you smile? I'm in, but only if you promise not to yell at me for singing anymore. Dominic nodded. I promise. As he left, Isla sat back on the couch, cradling her guitar. Isla Carter, you just got an iceberg to apologize. Now that's star power, she whispered to herself, though a warm flicker had replaced the ache in her heart. Dominic Wolf wasn't just a cold CEO, he was a father trying to heal. And Isla? She was ready to bring light back into Evie's world. Maybe even his. Brilliant Sunday sunlight stretched across the city's Central Park, as if the sky itself had decided to throw a celebration to welcome Isla Carter back to the Wolf Mansion. After 3 days away, Isla had returned with more energy than ever, ready to turn every moment into a dazzling performance. She stood in the mansion's kitchen, wearing a paper crown, her prized relic from the Rainbow Kingdom, as she prepared a picnic basket like a 5-star chef. Today's the day, Isla Carter. The world will witness the ultimate picnic, she whispered to herself, stuffing in a mountain of moon-shaped cookies alongside sandwiches and bottles of apple juice. The picnic idea had come from Dominic Wolf himself, a fact that nearly made Isla drop her tray of cookies when he suggested it. Miss Carter, Evie misses the park. Would you like to join us? He had asked, his deep voice no longer as robotic as before. Isla winked. Boss, did you just invite me to a picnic? I need to write this down. First time Mr. Wolf says something that isn't about contracts or deadlines. Dominic merely smirked, but a rare warmth flickered in his eyes. Evie, overhearing the plan, had squealed with delight. Miss Isla, we're going to the park. I want to play tag. Isla scooped the girl into her arms, laughing. Princess, you better stretch. Your DJ is about to be the fastest wind in the park. At the park, Isla spread out a picnic blanket beneath a fiery red maple tree, transforming it into a colorful command center. She laid out cookies, sandwiches, and even a box of glitter because, in her words, any picnic without sparkles isn't a real picnic. Evie, dressed in a pastel pink dress, ran around giggling while Isla pretended to be a wind witch chasing after her. Miss Isla, you're too slow, Evie shouted, collapsing onto the grass in laughter. Isla bent over, panting dramatically. Slow? You don't know I'm a dream marathon champion, do you? Dominic, sitting on the picnic blanket in a light blue button-down, no black suit in sight, watched the two of them with a soft smile. He looked less like a ruthless CEO today and more like a father than ever before. They played everything from tag to glitter art painting. Isla showed Evie how to make a grass crown and placed it on the little girl's head. Princess Evie, you are now queen of the park, Isla declared. Evie beamed, then suddenly ran to hug Isla, whispering, You're my Mama Isla. Time seemed to freeze. Isla blinked, trying to hide the lump in her throat behind a joke. Mama Isla, huh? Then I guess I'll have to double your cookie salary. But deep inside, her heart swelled with warmth as if Evie had just handed her the most precious metal in the world. Dominic, overhearing the words, froze. He looked at Isla and Evie together, and for the first time, his cold house felt like a home, even if just for a moment. But from a distance, a pair of cold eyes watched. Amara Sterling, Elena's younger sister, was at the park that day, taking photos for a personal project. She wore an elegant dress, her chestnut hair glowing, but her face darkened the moment she saw them. Dominic, Isla, Evie, laughing together like a perfect family. It was like a knife to her heart. Amara had loved Dominic in silence since the days Elena was still alive, always hoping that one day he would look at her the way he once looked at her sister. But now, Isla, this bubbly stranger with a dazzling smile and whirlwind energy, had taken the place she longed for. Who does she think she is? Amara muttered, gripping her camera tightly. She felt replaced, terrified Dominic would forget Elena, terrified Evie would start calling another woman Mom. Jealousy flared like wildfire in her chest, and as she watched the three of them, Amara began crafting a plan to push Isla out of Dominic's life. Back at the picnic, Isla was blissfully unaware of the storm brewing. She was too busy being the glitter witch, sprinkling sparkles into Evie's hair and pretending to turn her into the Queen of Sparkles. Miss Isla, Daddy needs sparkles too, Evie shouted, tugging on Dominic's sleeve. Isla laughed loudly. Boss, get ready, I'm about to turn you into Disco King. Dominic shook his head, but didn't stop Evie from dabbing glitter onto his shirt sleeve. Miss Carter, you really are a professional troublemaker, he said, his deep voice carrying a rare hint of playfulness. Isla winked. Thanks, boss. Causing trouble is my superpower. They played, shared cookies, told stories like a real family. For the first time in 3 years, Dominic felt at ease, as if the pain of losing Elena was slowly being soothed by Evie's laughter and Isla's warmth. As the sun began to set, the trio packed up and headed back to the car. Evie fell asleep on Isla's shoulder, mumbling Mama Isla in her dreams. Isla stroked the girl's hair, heart full but a little uneasy. Sweetheart, I don't know if I deserve that, she whispered. From the driver's seat, Dominic glanced at her in the rearview mirror. His eyes were softer than usual. You're doing great, Isla, he said, voice low but sincere. Isla smiled. Thanks, boss. But next time you have to dance disco with me and Evie, deal? Dominic chuckled so rare a sound that Isla nearly slipped off her seat. From a distance, Amara snapped a photo of the three leaving the park. She gripped her camera tightly, jealousy coursing through her. She can't replace Elena, she muttered, eyes sharp with determination. In her mind, a plan was already forming fake emails, carefully planted rumors, anything it would take to make Isla disappear. What she didn't know was that this scheme wouldn't just hurt Isla, it would challenge the trust between Dominic and Evie too. The Wolf Mansion, though now echoing with laughter, stood on the edge of a new storm, and Isla, with her bright, whirlwind energy, had unknowingly stepped into a battle she never asked for. Just days after the sunshine and glitter-filled picnic in the park, the Wolf Mansion was suddenly swept into a media storm no one saw coming. Isla Carter, the bubbly nanny, with a smile brighter than stage lights, had become the center of vicious headlines. "Gold digger targets Wolf Tech billionaire," screamed one article, accompanied by doctored emails and edited voice recordings accusing Isla of seducing Dominic for money. One manipulated audio clip even made her sound like she was bragging about her plan to charm the CEO. Tabloids dug into every part of Isla's life, from her street performances to her past part-time nanny jobs, twisting each detail into evidence of a so-called scheme. Paparazzi swarmed outside the mansion, snapping photos of Isla playing in the garden with Evie, turning her life into a full-blown soap opera. Inside her room at the Wolf Estate, Isla sat on her bed, hugging her guitar like a lifeline. She tried to keep her spirits up with a joke. "Isla Carter, you're a star, not a gold digger. Whoever wrote that trash headline is about to get whacked with a guitar." But her eyes were red as she scrolled through cruel online comments. "She's just an opportunist. Poor Evie, tricked by a glorified babysitter." Each line cut like a blade. What hurt her most wasn't the lies, it was the fear that Evie might hear them. "She can't think I'm a bad person," Isla whispered, stroking her guitar as if to soothe herself. But the scandal didn't just target Isla, it dragged Evie and Dominic into the spotlight too. "Wolf Tech CEO manipulated by his nanny," read one headline that made Dominic clench his fists in his study. Though Evie didn't fully understand what was going on, she sensed the tension. Clutching the doll Isla had given her, she ran into Isla's room, eyes wide and worried. "Miss Isla, people are saying mean things, but I don't believe them. You're my mama, Isla." Isla pulled her into a tight hug and pretended to cast a spell. "Princess, I'm turning all those nasty words into soap bubbles, and poof, they're gone." Evie giggled, but Isla's heart was breaking. She worried that her presence might bring more harm to Evie and Dominic, so she decided to face it head-on. Wearing her trusty paper crown, a symbol of her Rainbow Kingdom spirit, Isla knocked on Dominic's office door. "Boss, I'm here to quit, but first I've got something to say," she declared, trying to sound cheeky, though her eyes gave away the hurt. Dominic looked up from his screen, his face serious but eyes flickering with something softer. "I've read the articles," he said, his voice low. Isla folded her arms, raising an eyebrow. "Yeah? So do you think I'm some gold-digging mastermind? I came here for Evie, not for your money or your mansion. If you don't believe me, I'll leave. But I won't let Evie think I'm the villain just because of a bunch of lies." Dominic looked at her. Her eyes, fierce with sincerity, reminded him of the night she sang a lullaby for tomorrow to soothe Evie. He remembered the flower-covered kitchen battles, the glow in Evie's face when she called Isla Mama. The fake emails and edited audio might fool the tabloids, but they couldn't fool him. He stood, stepped closer, and said in a voice both gentle and firm, "I believe you, Isla, and I'm not going to let you face this alone." Isla blinked, stunned. "Wait, did Dominic Wolf just call me Isla? Somebody carved this moment into stone." She laughed, but tears streamed down her cheeks. "I just didn't want Evie to be hurt. Those articles, they've turned everything upside down." Dominic placed a rare, reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Evie needs you, and so do I. I've already asked Henry to investigate. We'll find whoever's behind this." Isla wiped her tears and cracked a smile. "Good, because if Henry doesn't, I'm coming with my guitar to bash some heads." Dominic actually chuckled, a sound so rare it almost made Isla forget the scandal entirely. Henry, now operating like a tech-savvy detective, dove into the case. In his office, he analyzed the fake emails and traced IP addresses with the intensity of a cyber sleuth. "Don't worry, Isla. I'm the Sherlock Holmes of Wolf Tech," he said with a grin when he passed her in the hall. Isla winked. "Then you better catch the villain quick, or I'm promoting you to unpaid Rainbow Kingdom assistant." Henry laughed, but his eyes were serious. He knew this scandal wasn't just an attack on Isla. It hurt Evie. It hurt Dominic. Meanwhile, in a luxury apartment across the city, Amara Sterling sat smugly scrolling through the headlines. She had hired a hacker to forge emails and manipulate audio clips, feeding them to gossip sites. She can't replace Elena, Amara muttered, thinking of her late sister. She feared Isla would steal the place that once belonged to Elena, both in Dominic's heart and in Evie's life. The very thought made her stomach twist. But what Amara didn't know was that Henry was already closing in, and her scheme was about to unravel. Back at the mansion, Isla focused on keeping Evie's world bright. She threw a mini rainbow party in the living room, complete with glitter, songs, and silly voices. Evie laughed, but then asked, "Miss Isla, why do people say mean things about you?" Isla hugged her tight and whispered, "Sweet princess, I'll blow those lies away like wind. You just have to trust me, okay?" Evie nodded, wrapping her arms around Isla. "You'll always be my mama, Isla." From the doorway, Dominic watched the scene in silence. He realized then that Isla wasn't just a nanny. She was the breeze that brought light back into their lives. "She's not a gold digger," he whispered to himself, clenching his jaw with resolve. Then, pulling out his phone, he called Henry. "Find the person behind this. Fast!" Henry's voice came through, confident as ever. "Got it, sir. And trust me, they'll regret ever messing with Isla." After 2 intense days of non-stop work, Henry finally had results. He knocked on Dominic Wolf's office door, face lit with triumph. "Boss, I've got it. The fake emails and recordings, they all trace back to an IP address linked to Amara Sterling." Dominic, reading a report, looked up sharply. His eyes turned cold. "Amara? Elena's sister?" he asked, voice low and heavy with disbelief. Henry nodded, handing over the evidence. "She hired a hacker to forge the emails and splice the audio clips. I traced the transaction records, there's no doubt." Dominic clenched his fists, a surge of betrayal hitting him like a punch to the chest. Amara, the woman he had treated like family, was the one who had hurt Isla and Evie from the shadows. He decided to confront her. Dominic invited Amara to the mansion, holding the meeting in a small private conference room that felt like a scene out of a crime drama. Amara entered gracefully in a white dress, but the unease in her eyes betrayed her. "Dominic, what's going on? Why the urgent meeting?" she asked, trying to sound casual. Dominic rose to his feet, his voice sharp as steel. "Amara, what did you do to Isla? The emails, the recordings, they all lead back to you." He placed Henry's file on the table, his gaze never leaving her. Amara went pale. I don't know what you're talking about," she stammered. But when Henry presented the digital footprint, the payment records, and the timeline, her composure shattered. She burst into tears, her voice trembling. I just wanted to protect Elena. Isla, she's trying to replace her. Evie called her mom. I couldn't stand it, Dominic. I couldn't stand seeing you forget Elena." Dominic's face darkened with hurt and fury. "Isla is not replacing Elena," he said firmly. "She's brought laughter back to Evie and peace back to me. And you, Amara, you hurt my daughter." His tone dropped lower, colder. "Stop this now, or Isla's lawyer will take it from here." Amara bowed her head, tears rolling silently down her cheeks. She said nothing more as she left the mansion, shame tangled with lingering jealousy. Dominic exhaled deeply. It felt like losing a family member, but he knew where his priorities had to lie, with Evie and Isla. The next day, Dominic held a press conference at Wolf Tech headquarters. He stood tall before dozens of reporters, every bit the commanding CEO. Looking directly into the cameras, his voice rang out low, steady, and powerful. "Isla Carter is not a gold digger. She brought joy back into my daughter's life and peace into mine. The rumors being spread are lies, born of jealousy and deception. We will pursue legal action against anyone who continues to spread them." His words dropped like a bombshell. The room fell silent, then erupted with camera flashes and a flurry of questions. Back at the mansion, Isla nearly dropped her glass of apple juice while watching the live broadcast. "Oh my gosh, did Dominic Wolf just defend me on live television? Somebody carved this into stone," she squealed, bouncing around the living room. Evie threw her arms around her, grinning. "Miss Isla, Daddy said you're the best." Isla ruffled her hair, pretending to cast a spell. Princess, your dad's an accidental superhero. Now let's celebrate our victory. She tossed glitter everywhere, transforming the somber mansion into a sparkling party zone. Henry walked in, chuckling. Isla, you seriously never run out of energy. Got any moon cookies? I just solved a crime. Isla winked. A deal's a deal, Sherlock. Moon cookies coming up. Chloe, watching from afar, texted Isla. I've sent legal warnings to the tabloids. The paparazzi will back off soon. Are you okay? Isla replied with a glitter emoji and a smile. I'm a superstar, sis. Thanks to you and Mr. Wolf. She sat down, holding Evie close, warmth spreading through her chest. The scandal had passed, but she knew her journey at the Wolf Mansion was far from over. Later that evening, Dominic returned from the press conference to find Isla and Evie dancing in a flurry of glitter. He smiled one of those rare smiles that made Isla nearly fall off the couch. Miss Carter, he said in a playful tone, you've turned my house upside down again. Isla grinned. Boss, this isn't chaos, it's art. And thank you for, well, being a superhero today. Dominic nodded, his voice soft. It was nothing. I protect what matters. The way he looked at her longer, deeper, felt different, like she was no longer just the nanny. The media storm had passed, but Isla, with her brilliant whirlwind spirit, knew there would always be shadows waiting. Still, she held Evie's hand, sang louder than before, and reminded herself, Isla Carter, you're a superstar, and superstars never stop shining. After the media storm, the Wolf Mansion seemed bathed in new light, and Isla Carter, the nanny with a smile brighter than a spotlight, was embracing her superstar role like never before. She stayed at the mansion, caring for Evie with her usual explosive energy, turning everyday moments into laughter-filled adventures. In her room, Isla cradled her guitar, strumming a few spontaneous notes and whispering to herself, Isla Carter, you just survived a media scandal. Now it's time to make the whole world sway again. But deep down, a flicker of worry remained. The scandal had passed, but would her light still be enough to keep everything shining? One morning, Dominic walked into the dining room where Isla and Evie were crafting a superhero breakfast with toast cut into star shapes. Dressed in a light blue shirt instead of his usual black suit, he looked more approachable than ever. Miss Carter, I have an idea, he said, his deep voice laced with an unusual hint of nervousness. Isla raised an eyebrow, pretending to be serious. Boss, are you about to name me Wolf Tech's director of music, or are you giving me a new guitar? Both would be ideal. Dominic let out a rare chuckle, one that almost made Isla drop her star toast. I'd like you to put on a small concert in the park, something for charity, and to honor Elena. She loved music and giving back, and I think you're the perfect person to do it. Evie, chewing her toast, lit up like the sky full of stars. Miss Isla, you're going to sing for Mommy? I want to come. Isla hugged the girl tight, grinning. Princess, I'll sing a special song just for your mom up in the sky, promise. That stage will be a gift for her, and for you. Evie clapped, dancing in her chair. You're a music superhero, Miss Isla. Dominic watched them, his gaze softening. You can do this, Isla, he said quietly with genuine warmth. Isla winked. Boss, if I make the stage light up, you're doing backup vocals, no takebacks. Isla dove into planning, transforming the city's Central Park into a small but vibrant stage. She rallied her musician friends, borrowed speakers and lights, and handcrafted a colorful paper flower backdrop that read Sing for Joy. Chloe, her ever-supportive sister, handled the legal logistics, while Henry proudly volunteered as lighting tech. By day, I'm Sherlock Holmes. By night, lighting legend, he joked, raising his iPad like a badge of honor. Isla burst out laughing. Henry, if you make these lights sparkle, I'll write a song about you called The iPad Legend. As the preparations buzzed, Isla felt a deep responsibility. This wasn't just a concert. It was a tribute to Elena and a gift of joy for Evie. The night of the performance arrived. The park glowed with colorful lights and music. Isla stepped onto the stage, guitar in hand, wearing a sparkling blue dress and the paper crown Evie had made for her. The crowd, filled with kids, families, and street music lovers, cheered with excitement. Evie sat front and center, waving her arms. Miss Isla, you're a superstar. Isla winked. Thanks to my #1 fan, ready to light up this park? She began with whispers of the wind, its cheerful rhythm getting everyone swaying. Then she paused, her voice gentle. Tonight is for the ones we love, especially a beautiful mother. Evie, this one's for your mom, up in the stars. She sang a lullaby for tomorrow, the melody like a warm embrace. The air grew still with emotion. Evie hugged her doll tight, whispering, Mommy, Miss Isla is singing for you. From the back row, Amara Sterling appeared, her face pale. Since her confrontation with Dominic, she had spent days reflecting, realizing that her actions had hurt not only Isla, but also Evie. Amara stepped onto the stage, catching Isla by surprise. The crowd fell silent, tension thick in the air. Amara took the mic, her voice trembling. I owe Isla an apology. I spread lies out of jealousy because I was afraid she would replace my sister, Elena. I was wrong. Isla, you've brought joy to Dominic and Evie. Something Elena would have wanted. She pulled out an old phone and played a recording. Elena's soft, warm voice echoed, If someone can make Dominic and our little girl smile again, please love them for me. The crowd went silent, then erupted into applause. Isla blinked, tears sliding down her cheeks. She tried to joke. Amara, you made me cry in front of the whole park. You owe me a box of tissues. She stepped down and hugged Amara. Thank you. I promise I'll make Elena proud. Amara nodded, eyes wet, and left the stage, letting Isla continue. Dominic stood beside Evie in the front row, watching Isla. As her voice rose again clear and bright, like moonlight, he realized she wasn't just a nanny. She was a piece of the life he hadn't known he needed. Evie tugged on his hand. Daddy, Miss Isla sang for Mommy. She'll be happy, right? Dominic smiled, stroking her hair. She will, Evie, and so am I. The concert ended in thunderous applause. Isla leapt off the stage, hugging Evie and Henry. Henry, you officially deserve your own theme song. And Evie, you're my forever #1 fan. Henry laughed. I want it titled Legend of the Lights. From afar, Chloe texted, You crushed it, superstar. Isla looked around at the crowd, at Evie, and finally at Dominic. He stepped forward, his deep voice steady. Miss Carter, you've done something Elena would be proud of. Isla smirked through her tears. Boss, next time you're joining me on stage, no arguments. The Wolf Mansion now glowed with laughter and light, thanks to Evie's joy and Isla's radiant spirit. But Isla knew her journey wasn't over. She took Evie's hand, held it tight, and whispered to herself, Isla Carter, you're a superstar, and your light will never dim. 6 months had passed since the magical concert in the park, and the Wolf Mansion had finally become a true home filled with music, laughter, and a warmth that reached every corner. Isla Carter, the ever-glowing nanny with a smile brighter than any spotlight, was still living at the mansion, caring for Evie like a second mother. But deep inside, she knew her heart no longer beat just for Evie. It was also in sync with Dominic Wolf, the once cold man whose presence now felt like summer sunlight. One warm afternoon, the backyard transformed into something straight out of a fairy tale. Strings of fresh, colorful flowers adorned the trees. A small wooden table overflowed with fresh fruit, cupcakes, and cool lemonade, a signature Isla touch. Evie, dressed like a princess in a sky blue dress, twirled around with a handmade flower crown. Miss Isla, what's today? Everything's so pretty. Am I a princess? Isla, radiant in a golden dress, winked. Little queen, today you're royalty, but I bet your dad is planning something extra magical. Evie giggled and covered her mouth like she was hiding a secret. Dominic appeared, not in his usual black suit, but a crisp white shirt, his hair gently tousled by the wind. He looked relaxed, human, and just a bit nervous. Isla, Evie, he said softly, I have something important to say. Isla arched an eyebrow in mock suspicion. Boss, don't tell me you're giving me my own personal concert stage. Evie squealed and tugged Isla's hand. Miss Isla, Daddy's going to do something super special. Dominic chuckled and then, with a deep breath, knelt before Isla. From his pocket, he took out a small velvet box. Isla's jaw dropped, eyes wide. "Oh my God, Mr. Wolf, are you?" He opened the box to reveal a simple silver ring, gleaming like starlight. "Isla Carter," he began, voice just a little shaky. "These past 6 months, you've brought laughter to Evie and light to me. You're not just a nanny, you're our family. I can't promise I'll be a great dancer, but I promise to love and protect you all my life. Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in Isla's eyes, but her spirit stayed as sparkly as ever. "Boss, you just proposed? I need this moment engraved in the sky." She laughed through her tears. "Yes, but you have to dance with me and Evie at the wedding. No negotiating." Evie jumped into their arms. "Mommy Isla! Mommy Isla!" Isla hugged her tightly and whispered, "Little princess, I'll be your Mommy Isla forever. Promise." Dominic stood and gently slid the ring onto her finger. His eyes were deep and full of quiet joy, like Isla was now his entire universe. From the distance, Henry clapped like a fanboy. "Boss, I knew you'd do it. Isla, I called dibs on being your wedding MC." Isla winked. "Henry, only if you wear a glitter jacket. No exceptions." Chloe arrived just in time, wrapping her arms around her sister. "Isla, you're truly a superstar marrying a billionaire, huh?" Isla burst out laughing. "Chloe, I married Evie first. Dominic was just the bonus prize." The wedding happened a month later. Simple, joyful, absolutely Isla. They chose the backyard for the ceremony, decked out in fresh flowers and twinkling lights. A small stage stood in one corner for Isla, of course. She walked down the aisle in a soft white dress, guitar slung over her shoulder, wearing a floral crown made by Evie. "I'm the rock star bride. Are you all ready?" she declared, making the crowd roar with laughter. Dominic, in a deep blue suit, looked at her as if she were made of stardust. "Isla, you never do anything the ordinary way, do you?" She smirked. "Boss, ordinary doesn't suit a superstar." Evie scattered petals down the aisle in her role as flower girl, shouting, "Mommy Isla, Daddy, you look amazing." Their vows were filled with sincerity and signature Isla humor. "I promise to love you, take care of Evie, and not make you dance. Unless I really want to," Isla said, giggling. Dominic laughed, then replied, "I promise to love you, protect you, and try to dance even if I'm terrible at it." They exchanged rings and kissed under the golden summer sun, cheered on by Evie and a handful of close friends. The reception turned into a celebration of joy when Isla pulled Dominic onto the mini stage for a first dance. She played her own upbeat tune, Dance of the Stars, and declared, "Okay, boss, time to prove your vow." Dominic hesitated but followed her lead, twirling her clumsily but sweetly. Evie jumped in, turning the moment into a family performance. "Daddy, you dance funny," she giggled. Isla winked. "Princess, your dad's the king of awkward, but Mommy Isla's got him covered." Henry whistled from the crowd. "Didn't know you had moves, boss." Dominic leaned in and whispered to Isla, "You owe me a song for dragging me into this." Isla laughed. "Deal, but you're singing backup." Later, Isla returned to the stage to sing a song for tomorrow, dedicating it to Evie and Dominic. "This one's for our new family," she said, her voice trembling with emotion. Evie climbed up beside her, singing along in her tiny voice, earning raucous applause from the guests. Dominic watched from below, heart full, the ache of losing Elena slowly being replaced with a gentle, healing peace. Even Amara, though absent, sent a bouquet of flowers with a note. "Congratulations, Isla and Dominic. Thank you for bringing joy back to Evie." Isla read it with a smile. "She's part of this story too, isn't she?" She placed the bouquet near the stage, a quiet way of closing the past. As night fell, Isla and Dominic sat beneath the peach tree in the garden, Evie fast asleep in Isla's arms. "You changed my life," Dominic said softly. Isla smiled, her tone playful and warm. "Boss, I am a superstar. Changing lives is what I do. But you and Evie, you've become my whole world." They held hands beneath the starlit sky, Isla, Dominic, and Evie. Their story, once marked by shadows and silence, was now filled with color, light, and music. And as the Wolf Mansion echoed with laughter and lullabies, Isla whispered to herself, "Isla Carter, you are a superstar, and your light will shine forever. For this family.